Hey Flock, Mike here from Epic Duck Studios, and welcome to Just Paint the Base, the show where I create detailed bases without the use of any flock or anything else requiring glue. In this video I'm going to create a marble base, and I'm going to begin by just base coating the whole piece with Iron Rack Skin from Citadel. I like to start with Iron Rack Skin because it's got a little bit of a creamy color to it. It's not just a straight flat white or a flat gray. And this helps me build up just some interesting tonal variations in the base by working with whites and grays later on. Now this color is a little bit on the translucent side, so it takes a good solid 3 or 4 coats to get coverage over the black primer. So this is just the tail end of coat 3 right now. You can see it's now a pretty solid color. Because we're going to be building up a bunch of different tones on this, it's okay if the color is a little bit splotchy, if there's a couple weak points. They're really just going to add to the natural effect of the marble. Alright, so this is my secret weapon when it comes to painting marble. It's a large, soft charcoal pencil. And what I do is I sketch in basically the veins of the marble. So you can see I do that with a bunch of sort of really soft, broken, kind of sweeping curves. They sort of look like really elongated letter S's. And they sort of branch a little bit here and there, join into each other. Kind of has the feel of lightning, but I'm really trying to keep this soft and blurry. I am not pressing hard with this charcoal at all. I'm just kind of all very, very lightly sort of dragging it across. You can see the veining mostly kind of travels in the same direction. Really, the best reference here is just look up different pictures of marble, find one you really like, and then just kind of use it for the same general shapes. You can see here I'm thickening up a couple of the veins by just, sketching over them lightly to just add a little more bulk to it. And you can just pick out a couple and do that. Now, even though this is a basing video, this same technique can work on larger surfaces of models, so like panels on Space Marine tanks, for example, Imperial Knight shoulder pads, things like that. This same technique works really well. Now, the trouble with the large charcoal pencil is that just the size of the tip of the pencil makes it so you can't really get it into the crevices. So here I'm taking a very thin mechanical pencil and then just working on the very, the edge details of each of these little veins. And then also just adding a few little sharper lines here and there on top of the veins I've already added, just to give them a little sort of hit of sharpness in the middle. What I mean by that is the charcoal is really kind of diffuse and foggy looking, whereas the mechanical pencil is very precise, and so every once in a while you want that just little hit of precision in one of the veins. I can also use this to add some much smaller, kind of more feathery veins than the charcoal pencil would produce. Now I'm grabbing a Q-tip and I've just lightly soaked the end in a little bit of water, and you can see as I rub it on my fingertip there's not much water there, it's just lightly moistened really. And what I'm doing is I'm using that to just smooth out the charcoal a little bit. I'm very lightly rubbing this over the surface of the base, and what it's doing is the water is letting the graphite and the charcoal just kind of move around a little bit on the surface, give them a little bit of a blurry edge. And most of this I'm actually doing with the dry side of the cube. You can see I just flipped it over there a second ago, and I'm using this to push around, the already wet charcoal and kind of smooth it out, and also just to dry the base so I can continue working on it. So with all the veining ready, I'm now going to start working on the sort of brighter points in the marble. And for that, I'm actually going to be using Deepkin Flesh and Ceramite White. I'm not sure why I chose to show off the Iron Rack Skin again, because I don't use it anymore. I'm coming in with the Deepkin Flesh now, which is just slightly more blue than the Iron Rack Skin is. And what I'm doing is I'm using it to sort of create a counterpoint to each of the veins. I'm bringing in just a little bit of a highlight, kind of running adjacent to the vein, but keeping it very diffuse and very kind of, soft. And what that's doing, though, is that little bright extra hit is making the veins feel that much darker, and it's also sharpening them up a little bit by just hiding a little bit of the cloudiness at their edge. You can see this brush I'm using has seen better days. The end is really frayed and kind of diffuse. It's definitely an older brush that at one point was probably really good, and I've abused the heck out of it since. This is actually a really good tool to keep around, though, because these really diffuse kind of splayed bristle brushes are really good for stippling and these other sort of natural textures where you don't want precision, right? You want sort of something diffuse and cloudy and kind of spread out. And brushes that just kind of fall apart at the end almost are really good for creating that kind of texture. So now I'm coming with ceramite white, and I'm just kind of repeating the same process. You can see I'm being a little more precise with it, and I'm kind of doing a couple little flyaway veins in the lighter color here. The idea is that, of course, marble has a couple different colors going on, and most of that's caused by just the dark veins kind of running through what is a pseudo-translucent white. That's how you get the sort of different colors of white and gray happening. It's really a counterplay of almost white and black in just varying amounts. But here what we're doing is just bringing in, little streaks of the white adjacent to the black and kind of letting them trail off here and there, and again be really diffuse and spotty in some places. It's a lot of just really fun, light, kind of loose freehand. We're not really being too precise with anything here. And that's what actually makes this texture really fun to create. Because you almost can't really do it wrong too. If you just go look at reference images of marble, and the best way to do that is find like a marble flooring or a marble countertop store, and just look at their online catalog, and there will be so many variations in how the marble looks. Fun fact, when you're buying marble countertops, you actually buy it by the slab, and you pick out the very specific slab you want to work with, and every slab looks different. And because of that, there's really not a right or a wrong way to paint marble. So now I've actually gone back to iron rack skin again, and I've just taken a little bit on the brush and really loaded it up with water. It's very, very thin now, and I'm just using this to kind of feather over very, very lightly over almost everything. I'm kind of leaving the veins alone, but all of the different white areas, whether it's made with ceramite white or the deepkin flesh, I'm just lightly brushing over it with a very, very thin down iron rack skin, and that's just helping kind of just bring everything back together and soften some of those harsh edges. Now the last thing I'm doing is just grabbing a little bit of Higgins Black Magic. This is kind of my go-to black. I love it because it's just such a deep, pure black. And I'm just cleaning up the base rim. That's all I'm doing here. This isn't comic style inking in any way. I'm just, hitting that inside bevel this base happens to have, and I'll be cleaning up the outside bevel as well. And of course, no base is complete without a model sitting on top of it, so I'm going to go ahead and get this model ready. This is Athena from RBJ Game Company, and I've already painted her up in comic style, so I'm just mounting her to this. I've got a couple holes already pre-drilled. I know where she's going. We just want to get her settled on there, glued in place, and presto. Alright, so there's my take on creating a marble texture using a combination of pencils and paint. Even though I did this on a base, this is generally applicable to any sort of larger surface you want to make a marble texture on. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, do something epic.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed that one, please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you get notifications when I post new videos in the future. If you want to take your support even further, you can do that at patreon.com/epicduck. Every little bit helps keep the lights on and the paint flowing, puts new models on the table so I can make interesting videos, and most importantly, puts a roof over my family's head and food on the table. You can also join me for live painting shows several times a week at twitch.tv/epicduckstudios. I'd love if you came by and watched the show sometime and followed the channel. I want to give a big thank you to everyone who's supported my content over the years, both past and present. It's been an absolutely wild ride, and I couldn't do this without all the wonderful fans and flockers out there. The hobby community is just an amazing group of people, and you really make this worth doing. So let's just keep on doing this together, making more content, and just being fantastic together for years to come. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, do something epic.